Now, with regard to the opposition, there will be, I think, two blocks of opposition, the Dutertes and then the traditional mainstream opposition led by the coalition that supported VP Lenny's presidential campaign. But the irony is, mas marami pang mapapagkasunduan yung mainstream opposition at BBM administration kesa sa Duterte opposition at mainstream opposition.
Nagkakasundo na nga sila now, Prof. For
Yes.
all intents and purposes, we see them, yung mga so-called dilawan, they're agreeing. They're on very good terms with the administration. So what do we make of this? Kung parang mukhang, kumbaga na lumamya or parang na-dilute or na-water down yung ating opposition, does that not open a door for the Dutertes to claim?
Not necessarily, no? Kasi ang points of agreement is a matter of foreign policy, particularly with regard to our worsening relationship with China, and then the question of accountability with the supposed entry of the ICC in the Philippines, no, regarding the investigation of the war on drugs, no. So these are very, very important foreign policy issues that apparently the administration and the mainstream opposition have common grounds, no. Now, whether this will translate into an electoral alliance is another issue altogether, no. But in terms of politics at this point in time, what we're just seeing is that mas malapit ang mainstream opposition sa administrasyon kesa sa mga Dutertes.
Professor, speaking of numbers, what's curious to me is the numbers of Paulo and Baste Duterte. We do know that former President Duterte, malakas sa buong Pilipinas. Si Sara Duterte rin, mataas ang rating. Pero yung dalawa, ang alam lang natin, sa local, they have a stronghold on that. But when it comes to the national, do we have any sense of how they would fare? Especially if you have 3 Dutertes running for the Senate and you have only 12 to elect in the midterms.
Right. Again, it's a double-edged sword. One, it's relying on the potency of the Duterte name recall or the brand. On the other end, it might lead to confusion, no, and it might split their votes, no. Remember what happened to JD Ejercito and Jinggoy Estrada in 2019, no. Pareho silang natalo dahil nahati yung boto nila. But they managed to get their acts together and nanalo naman sila noong 2022. No? So, it can go both ways.
It seems to me this is just their family's response with the recent spate of attacks. But how about the ICC investigation? Would they gain anything if they do run and win Senate seats?
Of course. Kasi well, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm thinking that they will think that the father is thinking of immunity, no, while they are in office, no, while they are senators, no. So I think that's part of the game plan, no. And of course, if they are seated in the Senate, they will have another arena by which they can argue their case, no, and defend their position politically.
Balikan ko lang yung sinabi mo kanina, no, about the populist playbook, Professor T. Hanky. Because earlier I was watching our sister program, Storycon, and they had Ronald Llamas, a former political advisor to President Noynoy there. He was saying na, kasi normally nga, ang pinupunto kung maaga ka masyado nag-announce, ano pa nga lang ba, 2024 pa lang, para sa 2028, usually natatalo. Pero ang pinoint out nila is that kung populist ka, such as President Erap, former President Erap, kahit isang mayor lang yata, yung nasa partido nila, kumbaga yung brand is strong. So, parang all the other, concerns about machinery, blah, 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 kumbaga na-etchapuera na yun, and it doesn't count. What are your thoughts on that?
It's good that you mentioned the Estradas, no? Kasi nga, there's also the phenomenon of political or dynastic overstretch, no? And this actually happened to the Estradas in 2019. In practically all the positions they ran for both national and local, natalo sila. natalo sila sa Maynila, natalo sila sa San Juan, natalo yung magkapatid sa Senado. At yung iba pang mga kamag-anakan nila, maski sa Pangasinan. Pangasinan ba? Si E.R. Ejercito, di ba?
Laguna.
Laguna, sa Pagsanhan pala, sorry. So, yun, no? Natalo, na-wipe out sila. No? So, it's possible na magkaroon ng miscalculation din on the part of the Dutertes if they overstretch, they leave their kingdom in Davao unprotected, no? And they run, all of them will run for the Senate, then baka matalo sila.
Prof, I just wanted to get your thoughts on this also now. Is Baste Duterte the new Digong, or sinasabi nga nila, Digong 2.0, at hindi si Sara?
Again, no, it's possible, kasi both Pulong and Baste are emulating their father's style, no, yung populist style, the way magsalita, even yung intonation, yung, di ba? It's everything, no. So they're both emulating their father, but I guess they are prepping Baste for a national position, no. He might be the one to run for the Senate. They might consider him as a backup for the presidency in 2028. All of these are now at play, no? And it is possible, no, na dyan patungo yan.
Professor, alam naman natin na malaki talaga ang naitulong ni VP Sara Duterte sa candidacy ni President Marcos back in 2022. Gusto ko lang malaman kung may naririnig po ba kayo, kung meron sila naging internal agreement when it comes to the next elections to come. Because for me, I mean, just seeing things play out, parang if I were the vice president, I'd feel betrayed by the incumbents, by the administration, given what has happened over the past months. I mean, what's happening now is this exposing their anger towards what has happened. At meron bang hindi natupad? Meron bang napag-usapan? May naririnig ba kayo?
Right. Alam nyo, dito sa bansa natin, we're a country of political cliches, no? And isa sa mga political cliches na paborito natin, that in politics, there are no permanent friends or enemies, only political interests, no? So, sa larangang politika at sa mga nakikita natin ngayon, no, mukhang ganun nga, no, na ironically ang first majority president under the post-Marcos era is a Marcos, no, and it was made possible by the unity, no, ang pagsasanib ng puwersa ng mga Duterte at ng mga Marcoses. Of course, even nung pagkapanalo ng Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, malaki rin ang naitulong ng mga Marcos. Pero sa mata ng isa't isa, bayad na yon nung pinayagan ni Pangulong Duterte ang paglibing ng ama ng mga Marcos sa libingan ng mga bayani. So it's another political deal altogether itong 2022. So siguro may mga naipangako na hindi na-deliver, kaya dyan nagsimula ang alitan na ngayon ay mukhang all-out animosity na. No? This is a, kumbaga, all-out animosity between the two former allies.
Ito pa, Prof, no, speaking of animosity, US versus China, sa nakikita kong mga developments, ito personal lang sa akin, but I wanted to get your thoughts. Kumbaga, everybody knows Team Duterte is allied with China. Kumbaga, ganun yung team up, diba? Tapos yung Team Marcos is allied with the United States. Ngayon, we also know and we have numbers from surveys showing na mas pabor talaga ang mga Pilipino o kumbaga mas kampi sila, quote-unquote, sa United States. How will this play out sa election? How can the Dutertes leverage kumbaga ang perceived good relationship sila with China to help them win next year and maybe all the way to 2028?
Yeah. Kasi nga magkaiba yan, no? Sa mata ng publiko, no, maliit ang tiwala nila sa China at malaki ang tiwala nila sa bansang Amerika. Pero pagdating sa mga politiko, no, mas mataas ng kaunti ang kanilang tiwala sa mga Duterte as na kumpara sa mga Marcos, no, sa mga recent surveys na nakikita natin. Ngayon, ang mangyayari dito, itataya ba ng mga Duterte itong political capital nila sa publiko para idepensa ang interes ng China? Yan ang magiging tanong, no? At kung gawin nila ito ba ay magiging sanhi ng kanilang tuluyang pagbagsak at pagkawala ng political capital nila sa taong bayan. So yan ang isang dapat isipin natin.